Hey, what's going on everybody? Today we're going to be working on how to create your own list application using core data using Swift 2 with Xcode. Now I do want to say core data is probably not the best thing if you're creating a list application. NS user defaults would actually be a lot easier, but this is just to give you a general overview of how to use core data. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first thing, let's open up Xcode, create a new Xcode project, and this will be a single view application. Now let's go ahead, click next, and our product name, you can really call this whatever you want. I'm going to call mine list. Now also down here, you want to make sure that use core data is checked marked, like that. Now go ahead, click next, and create. Now let's go ahead and make this a bit bigger, and right inside of here, as you can see, we have this list.xc data model ID. Now this is your core data. But we're not going to be playing around with this just yet, so let's head over to our viewcontroller.swift, head over to our class viewcontroller right here. I'm just going to change the name of this to my table viewcontroller, and then also change the superclass of this equal to my UI table viewcontroller, like so. Now also with this, we need to head over to our main.storyboard, go over to this view controller right here, and just delete it. And now we need to go down here, and we're going to add a navigation controller. Now you could have just added a table view controller and then a navigation controller, but this is just a fast and easy way to do it, so let's continue on. And as you can see, we have our navigation controller right here and our root view controller right here. So our root view controller is our table view controller that we are going to be using and going to be editing via the viewcontroller.swift file right there. So now if we head over to our main.storyboard again, we can head over to our root view controller, go over to our identity inspector right there, and we're going to change the class of this equal to our table view controller. So now anything that we put inside of this viewcontroller.swift file will edit that table specifically. Now another thing we need to do is make this navigation controller the initial view controller. So this is going to be the first view that loads up. So we can go right over here to our attributes inspector and just go is initial view controller. Like so. So now we have that all working. Let's head over to our viewcontroller.swift. Now the first thing we want to do inside of our viewcontroller.swift is say import and then core data. So this is just importing files into our project that we can use to control this list.xc data model ID. So now we can head back, and right inside of here we're going to create a variable. So we're going to say var, this will be my list items, and this is going to be equal to open square bracket, close square bracket, and this will be an array of an NS managed object, like so. Now also right after this we need to say open parentheses, close parentheses. So this is going to be our list items. Now another thing we need to do down here is edit our table view. So we're just going to type in table view and then go down here where it says number of rows in section. So just tab that all in. And right here it's looking for an integer. So we want to return the integer. So we're going to say return the integer of our list items.count. So we're counting the amount of objects that are inside of here. And these NS managed objects is going to be essentially everything that's inside of our core data. So we're grabbing those items, counting them, and then now we also need to go down here and just type in table view and then cell for row at index path right down there. So tab that all in. And now this is waiting for a return of a cell, so we're going to say let cell equal, and this will be our table view dot dec reusable cell with identifier, and then open quotation mark, close quotation mark, and we're just going to type in capital CELL. It can really be whatever you want, but that's what I'm putting. And then we also need to say this is going to be as a UI table view cell, because it doesn't know that it's going to be a cell just because. And it's giving me an error, so it's wanting an exclamation point right after that, and that should fix that. Now it's still waiting for the return value of our UI table view cell, so we're going to say return cell, like so. Now we will work on the cell a little bit later, but first of all, we need to head over to our main.storyboard, click on our prototype cell right here, and go over to our attributes inspector. Now inside of our identifier, we just want to type in capital CELL. So we want this to be corresponding with whatever we put inside of our viewcontroller.swift right in this place right there. Now one thing we want to do is have a button in the top right corner of our screen so that when we press that button we can actually add a new item into our table view. So let's go ahead and just say self.navigationItem.writeBarButtonItem will be equal to a UI bar button item, and then open parentheses, and the one we want in here is going to be our bar button system item, and this will be our target and our action. So we're just going to tab that all in. Essentially, we're going to be using a system button and putting that into the right bar button item of our navigation item. So we can say UI bar button system item, and then you can say dot, and then you can put add, cancel, or whatever you want. I'm going to put add, as we are going to be adding a new thing inside of our table view. Our target will be equal to self, and our action, we're actually going to create this right now. So let's go ahead, go right down here and say function, and we're going to call this add item. Open close parentheses, open curly bracket, close curly bracket. So now we can go back up to our action selector right here. We're just going to type in capital S selector like so, and then open parentheses, and this will be open quotation mark, close quotation mark. And inside of these quotation marks, you're going to add the name of your function that you just created. So and it's case sensitive, so just be sure it's add item with a capital I. And then also at the end of this, we need to add one more parenthesis so we can finish that off. So now that's all working. Now let's actually add an item onto our view. So the way we want this done is I want to create an alert view controller. So let's just say let alert controller equal a UI alert controller, and then open parentheses, and we're going to make this equal to a title, message, and preferred style. So our title of this will be just type something. Message of this, whatever, type. And then our preferred style will be equal to a UI alert controller style dot alert. And also a quick shortcut, if you want to take this route, you can say just dot alert. But I'm doing this just so you know exactly where it's coming from. Now inside of this alert controller, we are actually going to add a text field. And one of the things we want to do with this text field is test and make sure something's typed in. So we're going to say let confirm action equal a UI alert action, like so, and then open parentheses, and this of course will be the only option you have here. So your title will be equal to type something. Your style of this will be a UI alert action style dot default, like so. And then our handler, we want to say open parentheses, enter close parentheses, and then also inside of this you want to say open curly bracket, close curly bracket. Now it's expecting something to be called inside of here, so that's why it's giving us the error. So we want to just say open close parentheses and then just put an underscore in there since we don't really need it, so and we're not going to name anything, and then just type in. So everything inside of this confirm action handler will be done if something is correct. Well, the first thing we want to do is save an item, but we haven't created a function to do that. So let's go right down here and just say function save item, open close parentheses, open curly bracket, close curly bracket. And also another thing we want in here is this save item. We actually want to create a string along with our function. So we're just going to go right inside of these parentheses right there and just call this really whatever you want. This will be our thing, and then colon. This will be equal to a string, like so. I'm actually going to get a little bit more specific, so I'm going to call this item to save, like so. Now this is where things get a little bit confusing. We're actually going to be dealing with core data now, so we're going to say let app delegate equal UI application dot shared application dot delegate, and we're going to call this as an app delegate, like so. So essentially what we're doing here is we're adding something that delegates or controls how our item is going to save. Now also we want to create our context. So we're going to say let managed context equal, and then this will equal our app delegate, so the thing that we just created, so it's going to be a lowercase a, like so, and then dot managed object context, like that. Now essentially with this managed object context, this is what we're grabbing this Xcode data model from. So we're grabbing that and we're going to add something into the Xcode data or the core data. So yeah, basically we're just saving stuff into core data right now. Now also with this, if you head over to our core data right now, we can actually add an entity. So we want to add an entity, and then you can change the name. The name of this, I'm just going to call this my list entity, like so. So essentially the entity is something that controls attributes. So inside of our attributes, we have certain things. So our certain things in here, or our attributes, will be an item. Now, of course, you can go way deeper into core data. We're basically just touching the surface of what you can really do with core data. You can go way deeper. But this is going to be just essentially our list entity, and then inside of our entity is going to be an attribute called item, and we're going to save items into that attribute there inside of our entity. Hope you got that. Now we can go over to our viewcontroller.swift, and right inside of here we're going to say let entity equal an NS entity description dot entity for name, like so, and essentially this is going to be our entity name. I called mine my capital L list items, like so, capital I, and then in managed object context, we actually just created this right up here, so this will be our managed context. And then lastly, we need to create an item. So we're going to say let item equal an NS managed object, open parentheses, our entity will be equal to our entity that we just created, like so, and then insert into managed object context, and this will be our managed context that we created right up there. And also it looks like I forgot to add an exclamation point right after entity, so that is good. Now after this, we're going to try saving an item. So we're going to say do, open curly bracket, close curly bracket, and we're going to say try managed context dot save. So it's essentially we're trying to save something inside of our managed context. Then also with this, we want to add it into our list items variable that we have right up there. So we're going to say list items dot append, like so, and we're going to append our new item of our item that we created right there. Now this is giving me this error right now just because we put in a try. So we need to go right outside of this curly bracket right here and say catch. Open curly bracket, close curly bracket. Now just to get this out of the way, a do will do this stuff inside of here, and if you put a try in here, it's going to catch an error. So if there is an error, this is where you're going to show the error. So you could say print and then error. So that's just saying that there was an error if this didn't work out. So now we have our save item function all done. So now we can go up here to our add item function, and right up here we're going to say let field equal, and this will actually be equal to our alert controller and then dot text fields, and then we want to grab the first text field that's on there, so we're going to say open square bracket, close square bracket, 0. And I also forgot to add an exclamation point, so be sure to add that exclamation point right there. And then after that, you just say open curly bracket, close curly bracket. And as you can see, it's giving me an error, as you can see. So we're going to say as a UI text field. We're just saying, don't worry, computer. We know this is going to be a UI text field. We got it. And I also forgot to put an if statement in front of that. So we need to put an if let field equal alert controller.textfields 0 as a UI text field. So this is essentially saying if this field that we see right here is all filled out, we want to say self.save item, and we're going to save the item of our field.text, as you can see. And then also with this, we want to reload our table view just so we can update our information that's on there. So we can say self.tableview.reload data. And I also forgot to put an exclamation point right after this text. That's all that matters. Now, right outside of this confirm action, this big long thing that we have right here, let's go ahead, add some spaces, and we're going to create a cancel action for our UI alert controller. So just like we did before, we're going to say let cancel action equal a UI alert action, open parentheses. We're going to give it the title of just cancel. You can really say whatever you want. Our style will be our UI alert action style dot cancel. Handler, we want to set this equal to nil. We don't really want to do anything other than just cancel our alert view controller. Now, next thing we need to do is actually add a text field onto our UI alert controller. So we're going to say alert controller dot add text field with configuration handler. Then we're just going to say open curly bracket, close curly bracket, like so. And inside of this, we want to create a text field itself. So we're just going to say open close parentheses, like so, and just type in text field and then in. So essentially, we just created a text field inside of our alert controller with the name of text field, and now we can edit that text field accordingly. So we can say text field dot placeholder, and you can make this equal to really anything that you want, but I'm just gonna say type in something. And then lastly, we need to add these actions onto our alert controller itself. So we can say alert controller dot add action. We're going to add our confirm action, and then we're also going to add our cancel action. So we're going to do the same alert controller dot add action, and then we're going to add our cancel action. So essentially, we just added those actions that we just created right there onto our alert controller. And then also with this, we need to say self.present view controller, and we're going to present the view controller of our alert controller. Animated, we'll set this equal to true. Completion, we'll set this equal to nil. So we are presenting this whole alert controller that we did anytime this plus button is being pressed. So yeah, let's see if this works. And also I forgot to tell you something very important about core data. So when you create your attribute inside of your entity, you want to create a type. So this type will actually be a string, but you can, but in any other application, again, I'm doing this so you can apply this to your own applications. In any other application, you can do integer 16, double, string, boolean value, a date. I'm going to put a string, like I said. Now, if we were to build and run this again, we should see that everything is correct. And while that's loading, I shall check out some YouTube videos. And now, as you can see, if I were to click this plus button, we get an alert view controller popping up like that. We can just say some random thing. Oh, I definitely feel something out wrong over here. So let's actually head back over to our confirm action. I set the title to something weird. We should actually just type this in as confirm. Now, if we were to build and run this again, we should get something a little bit more normal. So let's go ahead, click the plus button. And now that looks a little bit more normal. So now we can just type in Google or something, hit the enter button. Looks like I have a bit of a problem. And you know what? I actually forgot something that's kind of important. So let's go down here and just say item.setValue. And we're going to set the value of our item equal to our item to save, essentially the item that we put right up here. And then we're going to save this for the key of our item. So this is essentially the name of what you put inside of here as your attributes. Now, if we were to build and run this, sorry about that. Now if we were to build and run this, we can type in something, see if we get an error. We do. Crap. And also if you get this error, I'll go over this real quick. It says fatal error, unexpectedly found nil while unwrapping an optional value. It says it's on this line, but most of the time you actually have to look up at the line above it. So let's go right up here to our entity, and as you can see, I actually put in list items, not list entity. So be sure to have that name the same as the name as you put for your entity inside of your entities. Now let's go ahead and build and run this again, which should work. So let's go ahead, click the plus button, let's type in something, confirm. No error happened, huzzah. But as you can see, it didn't add it onto the table view itself, so let's head back over to our project, go over to our viewcontroller.swift, and let's hover here to our table view self row at index path. Now what we want to do inside of our table view self row at index path right there, you want to say let item will be equal to, and we're going to make this equal to our list items for the index path.row. So open square bracket, close square bracket, and inside of here we're going to type in our index path.row. Now our list items again is just an array. So essentially we're grabbing each little item from the array, is setting that as our item, and then we're going to say cell.textLabel.text will be equal to that of our item.value for key. So we're grabbing a value from the key of our core data. If you can go back over here, our attribute key is equal to item, as you can see. So let's head back over to our project, go over to our value for key, and just type in open quotation mark, close quotation mark, and this will be item. Now it doesn't realize that this is going to be a string, so we want to say as a string, like so. It's giving me the little stop sign. You would just want to make sure you update your syntax accordingly. And now if we were to build and run this, we should actually see some items popping into our table view. So let's go ahead, click add, type in something, confirm, and as you can see, we have something inside of our table view. Woo! And we can really keep adding things, and the way to test this really is to say Command-Shift-HH and then just close out of it. Now, word of warning, we're going to see some error just right now, so let's go ahead and get it right in there. And as you can see, we don't have anything popping up. So let's actually head back over to our viewcontroller.swift, and inside of here we want our view will appear, like so. So we're going to type in our view will appear, and essentially what it's doing here is prepping our interface rather than just the view did load. Now what we want to do inside of our view will appear is, again, fetch every item that's inside of our core data and apply that to our table view. So the way you do this, let's actually go right up here. We're going to take these first two things inside of our saved item just to save time. We're going to copy that and we're going to paste that right inside of our view will appear. And we want to create a fetch request. So we're going to say let our fetch request equal an ns fetch request, and then open parentheses, and this will be an entity name. So we're grabbing stuff from the entity of this name. And again, our entity name is called our list entity. And inside of here, we want to say do this stuff that's inside of here. And we're going to create a variable called our results. So we're going to say let results equal, and this will actually be equal to a try value. So we're going to say try our managed context.execute fetch request, and we're going to execute the fetch request, which is grabbing everything that's inside of the entity name of our list entity. And then we're going to take these results that we have and plug it into our list items. So we're going to say list items will be equal to our results. And then it doesn't realize that the results are going to be an NSManage object array. So we're going to say as an array, so open square bracket, close square bracket, and we're going to say NSManaged object, like so. Now the error that we're getting right here is it's saying that we're not catching the try. So we just need to type in catch and then open curly bracket, close curly bracket. And then you can type in whatever you want in here. I'm just going to type in a print value and say there was an error. So now if we were to build and run this, we should actually see our NSManaged objects even after we close out of the thing. And this is a testament to show that. As soon as our view loaded, we have each of these items loaded up in our table view, and then we can hit Command-Shift-HH, close it out like that, and then we can go right into our list again, and it should load up everything like it did. Now, what if we want to delete something that's inside of our list items? You can add, but you can't delete. So let's actually go right down here. We're going to create a new function. So we're going to say table view, and this will be did select row at index path. Now, what do we want to happen in here? Well, let's actually take these first two lines again. Right inside of our view will appear. It'll be the app delegate and the managed context. That way we just do this a little bit faster. And inside of our managed context, we just say manage context.delete object, and we're going to delete the object of our list items and then just say open square bracket, close square bracket, and this will be for the index path.row. So essentially we're deleting an object according to where our touch is inside of our table view. And we're getting this little stop sign right up here because we need to add override. And now we remove this out of the core data itself, but now we actually need to remove it out of our list items. So we're going to say list items.remove at index, and we're going to remove it at the index of our index path.row, like so. So we're just removing stuff out of our list items and our context. Then right after this, we're just going to reload the data inside of our table view. So it's just say self.tableview.reload data. So now if you were to build and run this, as you can see, I will be able to click on one of these cells, it removes it, and you can hit Command-Shift-HH, and you'll see that it's actually removed from the core data itself, like so. And then we can add stuff if you want, confirm, and again, core data at its best, there you go. And also, if you think this is a little bit bland, let's actually have some fun right now. So if you think this is a little bland that you just click on it and it erases, let's head back over to our project and go to the did select row at index path, and we're going to say table view.reload rows at index paths. Now inside of this is going to be open square bracket, close square bracket, and this will just be our index path, really. And then with the row animation, you can just say UI table view row animation, like so, and then dot, and you can say bottom, fade, left, middle, right. I'm going to go with right just because I think it looks the best. And then we can build and run this. And let's add a few items, confirm. And now if you were to click on one of these, it erases it, and that's what we want. Boom. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more videos like this from me in the future, be sure to subscribe. App of the day will be linked up there as my iPod is dead actually at the moment. But thank you all again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.